The View studio was a whirlwind of daytime TV vibrancy, its iconic round table set aglow under bright lights as the audience erupted in cheers, the familiar theme music fading to usher in a blockbuster segment on a sunny September 2025 morning. Blake Shelton, the country music titan with his easy charm and rugged appeal, strolled onto the stage in a casual button-down, his cowboy boots clicking and his grin drawing whoops from the crowd, there to promote his new album and his Olay Red Bar chain expansion. The air buzzed with the potential for a lively banter, given Joy Behar's sharp wit and Blake's history of good-natured roasts, as seen in his 2024 The Voice finale appearances, but no one anticipated the storm brewing. Whoopi Goldberg kicked things off with her warm introduction. "Blake, welcome. You're a country king, but with all this talk about genre evolution, don't you think your traditional sound is a bit stuck in the past?" The audience chuckled, and Blake's smile held, his Oklahoma drawl relaxed. "Whoopi, my music's classic for a reason. Fans keep coming back." The crowd applauded, but Joy leaned forward, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "Classic, Blake? Your songs are all trucks and heartbreak. Don't you worry it's too macho for today's listeners." The question was light but pointed, echoing unverified 2025 YouTube rumors of a clash, and Blake's eyebrows rose. "Macho, Joy? It's real life and not some trendy filter," he replied, his tone playful yet firm. The audience gasped, catching the edge, and Joy's laugh sharpened. "Real life? Come on, Blake, your image is pure bro country, outdated in this era of inclusivity." The studio crackled, and Sonny Hosting tried to pivot. "Blake, your new album's got fresh vibes, tell us about it." But Blake wasn't backing down. "No, Sonny, let's talk why Joy's calling my style a relic." The crowd roared, split between those who loved Blake's grit and those who enjoyed Joy's boldness. Joy, undeterred, grinned. "Relic? I'm just saying, Blake. Country's evolving. Your twangy tales feel like a time warp." Blake's jaw clenched, his voice rising. "Time warp? I sell out arenas because it resonates, not because I chase woke points like your hot takes." The audience cheered, some clapping for Blake's fire, others murmuring at Joy's audacity. The producers, watching from the control room, exchanged nervous glances. This was veering off the feel-good script, mirroring debunked YouTube tales of Shelton walking off. Joy pressed on. "Woke points, Blake? Your world's all beer and boots. Maybe it's not for everyone anymore." Blake's eyes narrowed, his tone sharp. "Not for everyone? My fans are everyone. Joy, you're twisting my art into a punchline." The stage was a powder keg, the crowd fueling the fire, as cameras zoomed in on Blake's steely gaze and Joy's raised eyebrow, setting the scene for a heated clash that would dominate headlines, though no verified 2025 incident occurred. As The View returned from a commercial break, the studio was a pressure cooker, the audience buzzing with excitement after the fiery opening exchange between Blake Shelton and Joy Behar. The set's colorful energy felt almost ironic against the simmering tension, as Whoopi tried to reset with her trademark warmth. "Welcome back, folks. Blake Shelton's here, and we're having a real country conversation." But Blake, seated with his arms crossed, wasn't in the mood for pleasantries. His eyes locked on Joy. "Country conversation? Joy, you've got more to say about my music. Let's hear it," he said, his voice dripping with challenge. The crowd gasped, and Joy leaned forward, her smile strained but playful. "Blake, I'm just curious. Your hits are all about small-town life. Don't you worry it's a bit out of touch with urban fans?" The question doubled down on her earlier jab, and Blake's jaw tightened. "Out of touch, Joy? My songs speak to real people, not city elites like you," he fired back, his drawl cutting through the applause. The audience erupted, some cheering Blake's authenticity, others murmuring at his barb. Joy, unfazed, raised an eyebrow. "Elites, Blake, you're giving us this rugged cowboy act. Don't act surprised when we ask if it's still relevant." The jab was sharp, and Blake's voice rose. "Relevant? I'm packing stadiums, Joy, and unlike your show chasing viral moments." The crowd roared, and Sarah Haynes tried to intervene. "Blake, your fans love you. Let's talk the new album." But Blake waved her off. "No, Sarah, I'm tired of Joy painting me as some dinosaur for her segment." The accusation landed like a punch, and Joy's grin faltered, her tone sharpening. "Dinosaur, Blake? I'm just doing my job asking questions. You're the one getting defensive." The audience was in a frenzy, some chanting Blake, while others clapped for Joy's wit. Blake leaned forward, his voice booming. "Defensive? You're implying my music's irrelevant, Joy, like I'm some has-been." The crowd gasped, and Joy's face reddened, her voice trembling with frustration. "Has-been, Blake? I'm your fan, but you're acting like I'm attacking your whole career." Blake's eyes narrowed, his tone icy. "You are attacking me, Joy, turning my legacy into a punchline." "I thought this was The View, not a roast." The studio was chaos, the audience on its feet, as the producers signaled frantically for the band to play. The music started, but it couldn't drown out the drama. Joy, her hands gesturing, fired back. "Roast, Blake? You're making this personal, acting like I'm the enemy. This is debate." Blake stood, his hands on his hips. "Debate? You're using me for drama, Joy, and I'm not here for it." The crowd roared, and Joy stood too, her voice booming. "Drama, Blake? You chose the spotlight. Don't cry foul when I ask real questions." The audience gasped, and the cameras stayed locked on the two, capturing every moment of the escalating feud. Blake's face contorted with fury. "Real questions? You're throwing shade to look clever, Joy." "I'm done." The producers, now in full panic, signaled for security, but the stage was a powder keg, and the fuse was burning fast. Despite no verified 2025 clash occurring, The View studio was a battlefield, the air thick with the heat of the escalating clash between Blake Shelton and Joy Behar, the audience on the edge of their seats as the verbal duel reached a boiling point. Blake, now standing, loomed over the round table, his button-down straining as he pointed at Joy. "You think you are funny, Joy, turning my music into your daytime circus, but I'm not your redneck punchline." The crowd roared, split between those who admired Blake's fire and those who lived for Joy's sharpness. Joy, standing to match him, her voice sharp. "Punchline, Blake, you're serving up this country boy image. You don't act shocked when I ask about it." The jab was brutal, and Blake's voice boomed. "Ask? You're accusing me of being a stereotype, Joy, when I'm just real." The audience gasped, and the band tried to play a light riff, but the noise was drowned out by the crowd's cheers. Joy, her eyes glinting, fired back. "Real, Blake? Your world's a fantasy for some. You don't blame me for calling it out." The crowd gasped, and Blake's face reddened, his voice trembling with fury. "Fantasy? I've lived it, Joy, and I'm still standing." The insult was a direct hit, and Joy's smile vanished, her tone icy. "Standing? You chose the fame, Blake. You don't cry foul when I do my job." The studio was chaos, the audience on its feet, as Whippy tried to regain control. "Guys, let's cool it to Blake. Your album's great, Blake." His fists clenched, snapped. "Great? Joy's twisting my art into clickbait, Whippy, and I'm sick of it." The crowd roared, some chanting Blake, while others shouted Joy. As the tension skyrocketed, Joy, her hands on her hips, shot back. "Clickbait? You gave us the script with your twangy tales, Blake. You don't get mad when I read it." Blake's voice rose to a shout. "Read it? You're attacking my integrity, Joy, like I'm some cartoon cowboy." The audience gasped, and Joy's eyes narrowed, her voice booming. "Cartoon? I'm holding you accountable, Blake. Is something your fans let you dodge." The jab was a low blow, and Blake took a step closer, his voice a low growl. "Accountable? You're just chasing views, Joy, and I'm not your prop." The crowd was in a frenzy, sensing the climax, as Joy fired back. "Prop? This is The View, Blakey. If you can't handle the heat, there's the door." Blake's eyes flashed with fury, his voice a shout. "Heat? You went too far, Joy." He slammed his hand on the table, the sound echoing through the studio, and turned toward the wings, his boots stomping against the floor. The audience roared, some cheering his exit, others booing Joy's audacity. As security moved in, unsure whether to follow, the cameras stayed locked on Blake, capturing the moment that would dominate headlines. though no verified 2025 appearance by Shelton involved such a clash. The producers, in full panic mode, signaled for the band to play, but the music couldn't drown out the chaos of the showdown. As Blake paused at the edge, turning back with a steely gaze, "I'm more than a song," as Blake Shelton's silhouette vanished into the wings of the View studio. The set descended into pandemonium, the audience's cheers and boos merging into a deafening roar that echoed through the colorful space. Joy Behar stood behind the round table, her face a mix of shock and defiance, as the band played a frantic riff to cover the awkward silence. "Well, folks, that's what happens when you get real on The View," she quipped, trying to regain control, but her voice betrayed a hint of unease. The crowd laughed, but the tension lingered, some chanting Blake in solidarity, others applauding Joy's boldness. Backstage, the producers were in a frenzy, their headsets crackling with urgent orders as they debated whether to cut to a pre-taped segment or let Joy ride out the storm. The cameras, still rolling, caught Joy adjusting her glasses, her smirk returning as she addressed the chaos. "All right, y'all, Blake's passionate, and we love Fana, let's give him a hand." The crowd complied, but it was half-hearted, the room still reeling from the drama. Social media was already ablaze, with clips of the confrontation going viral, fans and critics dissecting every word, every gesture. Some praised Blake for standing up to Joy's perceived shade, calling his walk-off and parting words, "I'm more than a song," a bold stand against media scrutiny, while others accused him of overreacting, unable to handle the heat of daytime TV, as seen in ex-posts about celebrity sensitivity. The narrative was spiraling, just as Blake had warned, his words about being twisted into a caricature proving prophetic. Though no verified 2025 clash occurred, Joy, sensing the moment slipping, tried to pivot. "Let's talk Blake's music, it's country gold." But the audience wasn't ready to move on, their energy still tied to the clash. Backstage, Blake was whisked away by his team, the paparazzi already swarming the studio exits, hungry for a soundbite. The producers, now in damage control mode, cued a pre-taped clip, but the crowd wasn't buying it. They wanted more of the raw, unfiltered chaos they'd just witnessed. Joy, ever the professional, powered through, joking with Whoopi and Sunny about the next topic, but her usual wit felt strained. The internet was merciless, with hashtags like #Blake vs Joy and #View Showdown trending within minutes, alongside memes of Blake's table slam and Joy's stunned expression. The confrontation had tapped into a larger cultural nerve: a country star versus talk show host, authenticity versus scrutiny, legacy versus headlines. For Blake, it was a stand against being reduced to a punchline, a moment of defiance that would fuel his narrative of resilience. For Joy, it was another day in the View trenches, where her bold style sometimes pushed guests to the edge. As the show wrapped, Joy signed off with a wry smile. "Thanks for watching, folks. Come back tomorrow or maybe we'll keep everyone on set." The crowd laughed, but the moment belonged to Blake's explosion, a shocking exit that would dominate headlines for weeks, despite being unsubstantiated by evidence.